Emily DeRaven.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
We are well. How are you in your part of the world?
I'm good in my my world of bubble here. Just day to day, a bit of a Groundhog Day experience, but staying safe, making the most of it, doing this, excited about today.
Absolutely. So glad to have you here at the GalaxyCon virtual stage. And our next guest, she is an actress and an advocate of animal rights whose credits include Secret Lies, Justice League Animated, and True Blood. Today, she joins us to talk about her turn as the antagonist and later ally Maleficent. Please welcome to the GalaxyCon virtual stage, Kristen Bauer Van Stratton.
Hey, hi, Emily.
Hi, I miss you.
I miss you.
Our hangout time. We'll just be talking. And yes, I am sitting reclining against my bathtub because it's the most private place in my house.
You are good.
I may take a bath. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm also on a toddler footstool. That's what my seat is. So it's all glamour here.
Well,
How are your little fur babies?
I'm watching him out the window eat the yard. Well, the husband watches.
The husband watches and you watch the husband watching them.
Mm-hmm.
You're a good mother.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And finally, she is an actress and filmmaker whose body of work includes House, How I Met Your Mother, Batman Hush, and the award-winning film Sundogs. Today, she joins us to discuss the role of Emma Swan in Once Upon a Time. Please welcome back to the GalaxyCon virtual stage, Jennifer Morrison.
Hi, guys.
Jennifer!
I'm really jealous that you're by your bathtub. I didn't realize.
I shouldn't have pointed it out.
No, it looked like a couch. I was like, oh, that's like living room. It looks like the top of the couch.
Like a really sleek modern cake set.
It's a good cell. That's going on.
Oh, yeah, now I see it.
I feel like we should all be required to do this near our bathtubs.
I just thought you had a minimalist Spartan sense of decor, but now you just have a very clean bathroom. Very good,
I figured we might not hear little ones screaming.
Oh yeah, no. There's
constantly singing
even
Frozen.
Without little children around, there's no privacy in quarantine. It's like all of life is observed suddenly.
That's so true.
Well, ladies, thank you for joining us today. Jennifer, it's so good to see you again. I so enjoyed our chat a few months ago, and I look forward to any time that you want to come back and talk film and film history. The door is always open, and the invite is there. But today, we are talking about Once Upon a Time, and what a tremendous ride it was for all those seasons. Starting out, I guess, as a simple concept, and wow, what a bunch of twists, turns, puzzle boxes, adventures. Lots of laughing, lots of crying, lots of swordplay, lots of special effects. Where did this begin for each of you?
Oh boy, I was really late to the game in terms of the casting. I was the last original cast member, or like pilot cast member cast, I think. Mm-hmm. And it was tricky because I was still doing How I Met Your Mother. So they, very luckily, out of the goodness of the showrunners' hearts of How I Met Your Mother, they actually had to flip episodes around so that I could shoot the pilot of Once Upon a Time. But I just loved it. I mean, I'm sure Kristen and Emily had similar feelings when they read the original scripts. It was like, it was so unique and such a wild adventure, but in a way that was so clever and so enticing. And so basically my adventure started really, really tired because I was shooting both simultaneously. It was like, I think I shot every single day, or was on a plane and shooting every single day for like 21 days straight or something. It was like I shoot in LA, I'd go to the airport, I'd fly to Vancouver, I'd land, I'd go to set, I'd shoot in Vancouver, I'd go back to the airport, I'd go to LA. Like it was kind of nuts, but totally worth it to be in that world.
That's showbiz.
Yeah.
At least it was LA. At least it wasn't East Coast.
Oh my God, I don't know I don't know that I could have done it because there were so many days that I flew and worked on the same day, which is I probably shouldn't even be like publicly saying because insurance companies are probably like sweating somewhere right now. But But yeah, I think you're right, Emily. I don't know that I could have done it with a time difference.
I've spoken to Walking Dead actors who had California or even Vancouver projects, had to go from there to Atlanta and back again, and I was like, whew. There you go. So, Emily, how did the Once Upon a Time begin for you? Once upon a time ago.
Once upon a time ago, different for me in kind of for any project. I just come off, I don't know what, 9 months ago or something, come off Lost, and then Adam and Eddie, as you all know, wrote a lot of episodes on that, so I knew them and had a relationship with them. They asked me, what was it, what was my first one? Episode 9 or something like that? No, maybe not even that late. Before episode 10, because it was the first year of filming, to do one episode with, they're like, do you like Robert Carlyle? Would you be interested in doing this, just one episode of Belle? Which, I mean, I love these guys. I love the idea of the show. Like Jen said, that it just was, I don't know, such a unique spin, and I liked the retelling and the modernizing and just their whole story arc that they had, or at least what I knew at that point. And for me, it was just going to be that one episode, which I did, and then had a great time, went well, and then I did 3 more, I think, the first season, and then as a regular second season. So it was a slower integration. I also did a pilot before at the same time in New York, and so it was a bit of a muddle to start with. But yeah, that was kind of how that happened, and it was just I was so happy to be able to join on full time, because it was really one of the best times of my life, and I got to work mainly with, I suppose, Bobby, but with just having an ensemble cast that was so diverse and so interesting, very different to Lost, but the same kind of thing. I don't know. I like when it doesn't get boring, that there's a lot of people to work with and there's always something different.
So they really just sort of approached you as a one-off, or maybe a slight recurring character at first?
No, it was just that one to start with. I mean, I don't know exactly what was in their heads, but it was, at least for me, it was just this one episode. There was no plan at that time, at least vocally.
They were reeling you in.
Yeah.
They were like, we'll just be like, no, there's no commitment. Just kind of like hang out.
Do you like
Oh, and if I'm reading this right, your character debuted in episode 12.
Yeah. Oh, wasn't far off. I was after 10. Thank you. Good. On the spot fact checking.
I just, it's part of my job. But regardless, if they had a secret plan or otherwise, certainly we're very glad that you were incorporated into it anyway, since your character has a tremendous contribution to the show, and your chemistry between you and, I don't know if I'm allowed to call him Bobby, but I will say the chemistry between you and that story arc was very near and dear to everybody's heart.
Thank you so much.
Very welcome. So, and Kristen, you said you had a very interesting path at how you came on board.
Yeah. So I was doing True Blood. I don't remember where we were in that, but I was back home in Wisconsin seeing my mom, and my manager was roommates with
Uh-oh.
And they told me that my mom was taking her to get a haircut.
Hey, Kristen, you're breaking up. You're breaking up a little bit. What I might ask you to do is go click log out of the chat room, and then if you log back in again, that will usually reset you. Because right now you look like you're in an aquarium tank.
Okay, good.
We have to make sure she answers this, because I'm dying to know. I'm like waiting with bated breath.
All right.
No, I don't think I know her story at all.
I don't either.
Ooh.
I just remember, I loved True Blood, so when she came on set, I was like, tell me everything.
That show's so good.
I was like, hey, are you memorizing your lines? Can we just talk about that set for a second?
That's how it happened. You were like, I need someone to do True Blood on the show. Okay, just bring them on.
Somebody else was. Let's get.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Oh, looking better. All right.
All right, so let's hope.
So your agent was housemates with?
Yeah, either Adam or Eddie. And so I was rushing out to get my mom to her hair appointment, and she's standing there with her cane, and we're in Wisconsin, and she hates to be late. And they said, do you want to do an episode of this news show? I don't think it had aired yet. And my agent and manager were on the phone, and they said, you want to play Maleficent? And I was like, Maleficent? Is that the green lady? And they said, yeah. Anyway, and they start going through it, and I would have to fly up on a Saturday and film and fly back, and it was just one episode. And they were arguing with each other. She shouldn't do this. It's an unproven show. We don't know what it is. And then my manager's going, are you kidding me? It's Adam and Eddie. I mean, this is going to be huge. And I'm just standing there, and my mom is going, honey, I don't want to be late. And I never read anything. I didn't know what it was. So I took a coin out of my pocket.
No.
And said, heads I do it, tails I don't. And it was heads. And I said, I'm doing it. I got to go. My mom hates to be late. And so then, and
That's genius.
that was it. And my hat off to Jennifer, all my hats, because it sounds sort of like glamorous and in demand to be shooting two things at once and flying red eyes and filming. It's so hard. It's so hard, and it's a great problem to have. And you know, when we're young, we can pull it off. But I mean, it's there's a reason why lack of sleep is a torture that they use in war. So,
Wow, Kristen, I never really thought about it that way. I'm really
It's true,
how
though.
masochistic I potentially am.
it's hard. And I did one of those, but only that one weekend. And I flew to Vancouver, and I met Lana, and she was so generous. She came and welcomed me to the show, which is nice, right? And I had that scene, and it was all green, which I hadn't done. On True Blood, they built everything, so I wasn't used to. I was trying to do some sort of blocking, and they're like, "You're in the fireplace now." So you just
I love those.
a wall. And so then, you know, Lana goes, do you know where you are, what you're doing? And I'm like, no. And when I called the costumer to say, hey, these are my sizes, they said, okay, great, we think it'll fit you. And I said, oh, you already have it. What is it? And they said, it's a purple thing. And I go, like Barney the dinosaur? Like, what are you talking? I don't know. She's some green lady who's now in a purple thing. So I get up there, and they really overly relieved that it fits me for some reason. So then Lana goes, you don't know where you are. Show her how this is going to look. So they pull up on an iPad the scene with another actress in the purple dress. So I replaced somebody.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Who did you replace? Or not that?
I'll remember and tell you later. But it's funny because
Did we meet this person and shoot with them? Or
I think that because it was one scene with Lana, and yes, I think she shot the scene with her.
huh.
Yeah. And then Lana looked at what I was looking at, and she put her hand over it and said, oh my God, she shouldn't be seeing that. Looking at another actress doing the role. And I just glanced over, and wow, my puppy is muddy. Okay, so and so that's when, and I knew her. I was acquaintances with her. So the whole thing was bizarre, and then I just decided I'm just going to sit for the rest of the scene. I don't know. And then they had a pony back with a unicorn, and I'm like, is this pony being treated well? Whose pony is this? I don't think it likes being here. And then when I got back,
Why weren't we on set for this?
and thought I would never hear from the show again. You know, I don't know what the show is. And then after True Blood ended, I was super, super, super sad. And I thought, I don't really think I ever want to work again. I don't want to go to a new set. So then I called my manager and said, hey, call your roommate and tell them if they want to do Maleficent more, I'd be happy to come up to Vancouver.
Oh.
And then they called and said, yeah.
That's the best story ever. I mean,
I know.
I'm so glad you went last in answering these questions.
Wow. Well,
Awesome.
I
Next time you can just go first, and we'll just be like, we just gotta-
What she said.
It's one of my favorite casting stories. It was a quarter
That's
flip.
great.
It's amazing.
Oh wow! Well, I hope the actress you replaced, maybe she just got a better opportunity that took her elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been replaced.
We all have. That's showbiz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you mentioned the green screen and then working with effects. This was a very special effects and makeup laden show. Do any of you have any memorable adventures or misadventures in dealing with those aspects on the set?
I'll let you guys take this one because I was not really as made up as everybody else.
That's nothing with a green screen where, oh no, it's over there, and we don't know what it looks like or what it is. But,
Oh, there was a lot of green screen, but I think by then it was sort of later. By the time I was doing a lot of green screen, it was later in the process than when Kristen was experiencing that sort of initial,
Sure.
weird introduction to green screen. And we ended up having a tremendous amount of previs, so we could always walk over to the dit tent and look at a previs of what the world was sort of going to be and have a sense of oh, this is all taped off and this is what it's going to look like. And so that ended up becoming really helpful in terms of being able to kind of wrap your brain around that. And I don't know. I don't think because I also just didn't have as many big fight sequences or
Sure.
magical sequences as the villains and things like that, so I just didn't have as much. I would end up on the green screen, but doing more sort of ordinary things compared to what Kristen would have been doing, or even Emily with Bobby and stuff, So it's I feel like I definitely had the sort of easier green screen stuff.
Well,
I'm gonna
again,
let Kristen go last again on this one because she's gonna have the best story. So
Well,
I'm going
it's-
next.
It's nice though that you had that ability to that previs because I know people on other shows have not had that benefit. So
Yeah.
again, kudos on your production manager for
Yeah.
being able to provide that.
Yeah.
So Emily,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, that was a huge help having that. I remember I didn't do that much that was tricky with green screen. I hadn't done much of it before, maybe a day here and there on films if they'd needed, a different background or something, but nothing crazy. The Skin Deep though, the whole castle stuff, interior of the castle. So it wasn't, it wasn't outside, there wasn't big things going on, but it was more of just the little things of getting used to, there's a table and that's it. And then, thankfully having, an image that we could sort of correspond and try and figure out where stuff is. They put down marks of tape where a door would be or a window or where, obviously your marks that you're meant to hit or remotely. Kind of bad at hitting my marks. Better. I'll practice in quarantine. But there was one, what was it, Skin Deep where they're sort of starting to get to know each other. Oh, Gaston's just brought the rose in. And what seems like sort of a simple scene of just her, sort of she walks around, she's tidying up a bit with stuff that's just not there. So it was those little things, and I was moving the entire scene until I sort of ended at the table and put the rose in. And it was one of the funniest things. I felt like such an idiot in a way because it took me quite a while to really just, get used to, purely marked eye lines for everything. And especially when it's a physical object that you're maybe trying to avoid or something that they can't put a giant mark. So, yeah, it was just the little things. But, yeah, it was kind of cool, though, in the end to see, or even the preview, to see what they would do. So they did some fun stuff. I think Keegan probably had the most fun with that because she's flying around on.
Oh, yeah, she flew like crazy.
Harness. That would have been cool. It would have probably hurt a lot after a while, though. Yeah.
All right, Kristen, we're ready.
Come on.
Oh, the pressure's on.
What she got?
Oh, no, did she freeze again?
I think she. Is
She
she?
did. Yeah.
Oh no.
She knows how to build tension.
Yeah, that's certainly another too. Okay.
It's all a plan. Oh, God.
Oh,
You know
my
what's
goodness.
while we're waiting for it to come back, what's so
Sure.
crazy is that green screen, the way that we've dealt with it, is about to be a thing of the past because of these LED stages. But
Yeah.
whatever, that's a whole other story. Kristen's back.
I know. When it all just seems so new and
Mm.
weird.
All right, Kristen, any adventures or misadventures involving effects on this day? And I'll open up the gate too. If you have a fun tall tale from the set of True Blood, you can throw that out as well.
How much time you got?
Share one with us.
You guys can go, take a break. I got the rest of this whole.
Get some coffee.
It's so ridiculous when you play an immortal character. It's not like you don't know how to do it. So, like the first time I had to turn into a dragon, it just says she turns into a dragon. And I'm like, okay, I'll be in my trailer and something else will happen. But then they're on the set and they're like, okay, Kristen, so we get to that part and you turn into a dragon. And I go, no, wait, do you just cut and I walk away? And they're like, no, you have to do something. Oh, like what? And they're like, I don't know, do something. So they go in action, and it gets to that part of the scene, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I really, you got to just go for it. I learned that on True Blood, is you just got to go for it. And I just hear Lana burst out laughing, and then the whole set and everybody, we had a lot of extras, everyone was laughing, and I'm like, you guys. And then I'm carrying the staff, right? I've got the staff, and we're walking through the woods, and I'm like, is it like a hiking stick? Or do you just hold it? So I said to Marin, should I go like this? And she goes, no, you're not Gandalf. And I'm like, okay. But I remembered Josh, so when the second scene I did, when I flew up again, I go, wait, so you wrestled the dragon? He said, yeah. I go, how'd you do that? Did you film it? He said, yeah. I go, how'd you do that? And he goes, they built an enormous green pickle. And I wrote,
Oh, yeah.
with this green pickle. And I said, did you feel silly? He said, very. And he showed me the picture, and it was absolutely ridiculous.
I totally forgot about that, and it was so ridiculous. He was just hanging on for dear life on this giant pickle.
Was it flying around, or was it static?
It almost looked like a electronic bull, it looked like something at
Settle range.
It was really special.
I would have failed to see that. And so that's how that.
See this. There has to be behind the scenes of that somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
We would have a behind the scenes gag reel that they play at the True Blood rap parties, and I always said, you have to release this to fans, and they just thought it would ruin the mystique, and it would.
Yeah.
But it's just so fun to see how it's done.
Well, maybe someday they'll do a collector's box set or something, and they're shooting an Easter egg. So everybody in the chat room, start letting everybody know you want to see the gag reels. Yeah. And I think we are good to go on audience questions. So I'll ask you to roll our first one, and this is going to come from Hannah, who wants to know, if you were your character, what is the first thing you would do?
Oh, God.
And I wouldn't go to jail. I need.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like we need some specific parameters here.
I'll tell you what. This has come up a lot, so I'll focus this. If you were your character, what would you be doing right now during quarantine?
Anything I wanted, because I'm immortal.
Yeah, true.
Oh, that's true. You wouldn't
I'd
get
be in Paris. I'd be in Africa. I'd be out there. I'm not worried.
I don't know what Emma would be doing. I suppose she'd probably be trying to somehow stop the virus. Like, I feel like Emma was so sure that she could solve any problem.
I got this.
She's like, I got my COVID sword. I'm ready.
She would assume something this global and this crazy obviously must be the work of some sinister mystical source.
Oh yeah, there's a magic bean that'll take me to a land somewhere that I can solve this.
That's true. That's true. It can all be a creative thing.
Somebody opened up old bottle somewhere and some green smoke came out of it, and then
Yeah.
I think it depends on if I'm with me. If it's really like pretend that we're okay. So if Bobby's responsible, I think I'd be cautious of trying to figure out if he did it, if Rumpel did it.
But you'd be safe because he loved you so much.
I would be safe, and otherwise,
like the NBA.
Start an online book club. Read to kids online. I don't know. Have maybe a therapeutic Zen blog to help people through the time. I think she'd be focused on keeping people a little bit more level-headed and educating them. We'll go with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm about to say, if Jennifer's character was on a quest to discover the sinister roots, you would be doing the research and trying to figure out.
There we go.
What was that magic bottle? Oh, it turned out some ancient Babylonian Gilgamesh's aftershave or something like that. So, Hannah, thank you. That was a good one to start us off with. And this comes from Erin. Any favorite Disney princesses before you started, we'll say, playing this show? So, did you
me? No, I had never. I think Aladdin was at that time. Now I think I have seen every Disney film because of my 4.5-year-old. But at that time, I don't think I'd seen any other Disney film except Aladdin. Not from any other reason that I was just into different stuff when I was a kid. I was into like I Dream of Jeannie and Bewitched and older things, and then Hitchcock movies and Agatha Christie, anything that was mystery oriented. So I kind of just missed the boat, I guess. Or older things like, Wizard of Oz and Mary Poppins and more real life stuff. I wasn't terribly interested in animation, which I now ironically greatly appreciate, like tenfold. It's kind of cool. So I don't know if I wouldn't have really known what my favorite is. And now I don't know. I guess I'm so swamped with Elsa and Anna all the time now. It's probably going to be one of those. And I know all their songs off by heart. So there's what I've been doing with my quarantine time.
That absolutely works. Jennifer, any?
I mean, I grew up on all those Disney films and saw them quite a bit. I mean, this is dating me, but we used to like wear out the VHSs of things, But I also I would vacillate between different ones that I loved when I was younger, but I really did love Belle. Because I just loved, I've always been such a big reader. So for me, I just thought it was so cool that there was this smart young woman who's thinking for herself and going on these adventures because she was thinking for herself. So yeah, I think I would go with that one.
Absolutely. Kristen?
Yeah, so I'll really date myself. I grew up before VHS. So you had to go to the theater, which my parents didn't really do, but we had that Disney Sunday nights and was such a great family night. But I did love the Beauty and the Beast, that whole, probably, I don't know if that was my early loving animals thing. But I just, and it's that stupid thing that, it's the woman will change the guy and he'll fall in love with you and become wonderful, and it never happens. But I really fell for it. I really enjoyed it. I know. It never happened.
Well, there's a lot of really unfortunate themes that have been in pop culture leading up until recently, you know, that we're trying to solve. But that idea of like a woman has to suffer terribly before having some sort of relationship is a really, really dangerous trope that I feel like has been in the world for a really long time.
It's true.
Well, especially when it's geared towards such young children and minds that are just forming what their sense of normal is. And if that's, I'm coming across that right now a lot with my little girl, of really talking a lot about it. And a lot of the old content. I mean, there's great things about a lot of these, but there's also a lot of bad mothers. There's a lot of bad stepmothers. There's a lot of sort of toxic home, or whatever the residential situation is, castle situation. There's a lot of home drama and a lot of unsettledness, and it's
one of the things that I feel the most proud about the show in general, and I feel so lucky that Eddie and Adam were really brave about this, which is that, you know, this was the first time anyone saw a sword in a Disney princess's hand. And now that's hard for us to imagine now, because you see it all the time now. But it never had happened before. Eddie and Adam put a sword in Snow White's hand in the pilot. And that was a big debate at the time. And like the studio wanted them to shoot it both ways, and they didn't. I mean, it was like it was a big deal, because they didn't want a weapon in a princess's hand. And so just to see how far we've come culturally and pop culturally, and just in awareness that at the time there was they thought they were doing the right thing to be concerned, and it was like once the veil was lifted, it was like, oh my gosh, how could we have seen it this way? You know what I mean? And so to be a part of a show that had such influence, whether we realized it or not at the time, in terms of shifting people's perspective, that part of being a princess could be standing up for yourself, could be taking care of yourself, could be fighting for what you believed in and taking matters into your own hand and having your own agency. And they did that so effectively with so many female characters on the show. And of course, there's other shows in the world that were doing that and all those things, but it was definitely one of those like really forward-thinking shows, knowing that a younger audience as well as an older audience were going to be able to digest what was coming at them through this. And I just feel like, I don't know, I feel really lucky that we all got to be a part of that shift and be a part of, like, you know, showrunners and writers in a studio that ultimately were brave enough to take those leaps and realize that people were hungry for it, and that we needed this culturally, you know.
And that they were able to fit it into a show that young viewers, old viewers, it was such a unique show that you could have a whole family really enjoy it and watch it together and talk about it, and like you just said, Jen, to really, really, you know, make these female characters especially stronger and, you know, just more whip smart, putting them more in a modern sense, or even not modern. I don't like saying that. Back then, it shouldn't have been the way it was.
No,
it wasn't really about modern times changing. It's more about just like change within oneself and within society, and it's super cool. And to think the amount of change that you're just talking about, all within 10 years. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it's so much can change so quickly if you've got a platform to do it.
Yep.
That's really, really huge. I hadn't thought of that. That's amazing, actually. That's incredible.
Yeah, to me, I looked at it as a very humanist approach. Not so much modernizing, but just like, okay, if these characters, this is how they're depicted in the version for young viewers, or the simple fairy tale version. Okay, if we're bringing these characters and they are real people, what's the motivation? What's here? What's there? And I thought that exploration was very good, because, characters necessarily bad in the fairy tales can do an arc, and I'm vindicated, because for years I was saying Peter Pan is a jerk. So, so Aaron, thank you for that question. And from Cammie, what's your funniest memory on the set, and with who?
I don't know if I can pinpoint one particular memory, but I had some real rough times with that coconut, with the magical coconut. And speaking of Peter Pan, I know I've talked about this before, but I feel like it's been a while. They cut the magical coconut so it could only close in one particular configuration, and yet the rules of the coconut were that you had to like trap a spirit in it quickly, and it had to close. And the jagged edges only matched up in the one most precise way. I had to get it exactly right. It was infuriating. So not only did I have a really strained relationship with the magical coconut, but Michael Raymond James also had to carry that magical coconut around in a satchel for a long time. And they constantly like wanted him to like reference the coconut, and he'd have to like tap the satchel and do things that like were so against every cell in Michael's body. And the process of getting him to tap the coconut always produced a tremendous amount of humor on the set. Like just getting him there, just getting him to be willing to, in some authentic way, be willing to tap the coconut satchel was always very entertaining.
Hey, can you do it again, Mark? You forgot to tap your coconut.
It was, I mean, and they were so like effusive about having to tap the coconut satchel. No one has forgotten about the coconut satchel. Like, we are all dealing with it all the time. It's fine. And they're like, no, yeah. In the tone meeting, they're very clear. He needs to tap the satchel. I mean, it was just, anyway, there's really talk about, you know, outtakes. There's some great outtakes of me trying very hard to get the coconut to do its thing, and even funnier outtakes of Michael Raymond James trying to figure out how to not hate himself for tapping the coconut.
You know, from this point going forward, when we go back to doing physical shows, people are going to ask you to autograph coconuts.
Well, as long as I don't have to trap a spirit in them very quickly.
Right.
Okay. Fair. Who's got another one?
I was going to say, there was quite a few things like that. Henry and the book, this damn book, that he pulled, especially when he was.
That book started bigger than him.
They're like, just carry it under your coat. And he's all like so sweet and so committed, and the poor thing, like, struggling with that thing. I think they finally, like the last season, they put like a pouch in there for him, and then Bobby with his dagger, that was a whole other thing too. But I didn't have, I guess I had a little bit of a debacle with the box. Peter Pan, whatever, what do we call that box with the turny things on it? The aerial.
I don't know. Another weird thing to trap spirits.
I know, and I think I broke it a couple of times, and it was like super intricate, and it had to turn. I'm like, you know, when someone looks at you like, it's okay, but it's not. It's not.
Right.
It's just really not. But that wasn't too bad. I think the funniest thing I look back on, and it kind of got a little serious at some point between us getting a little pissed off about it, that the bed, like, where does Belle sleep, and where is there was this sort of day bed cot situation stuck against the wall under some degraded tapestry and a bike or something in the back of Gold's shop. I think she was sleeping there, but then it's like, a few people died there, and then that's where you'd go if you were under a spell too. So I think we all spent, I don't know, but it was a little bit odd, because it was this whole conversation about how Belle got pregnant and where she's been living, when they had her sort of waking up and pretending like she's sleeping in the back right after who died there? What's his name? The author died there.
Oh, did he really? I don't remember that.
Yeah, in the bed.
That's
and then,
cool.
right, but then it was like, sort of happy place. It was just weird.
So,
this
Belle
was a
and
constant kind of thing of, who else is going to be in the bed? I think Keegan was in there at some point for a while. Yeah.
So but that's the bed everybody dies in.
Yeah, it's just like this communal sort of, I guess we'll just use that one. It's there. We won't be able to do another set.
a lot did go down on that cot.
A lot. Yeah. It wasn't very safe too. There was a shunky sort of back door that was never locked there. And
Oh, gracious. So, Kristen, you got a funniest memory?
I wish I could remember it because I remember laughing so hard. It was Josh, and he pulled a prank on me. And I can't, it's like this, I can picture the set and the scene and he's really, really, really funny.
Yeah.
He's such and so I was laughing so hard, and Ginny's like the straight man, and that, and so she's just like, and he had me laughing so hard that day. Somehow I had to do a red eye to LA to do a test for a pilot on ABC, and it was not a fun process. And it was so crazy. Like, I was sitting there in the lobby waiting to test, and I'm walking past, they had the Queens of Darkness was the billboard for that year. And I'm sitting there looking at the billboard, and I'm thinking, you can't offer me the job? Like, my face is like 60 feet easy in that thing. And I had to go and tape 3 times, and then they're walking by me in the office going, great episode last night. And I'm, the poor girl next to me that's reading, I'm like,
Oh my God.
But it was just so crazy. And then they didn't hire me, but I flew and then did later. But I flew back.
They didn't and then did?
They didn't and then did.
Wow.
And it was so, this is such a, actually, this is another crazy why not to be an actress story, because I flew back then red eye, and ABC booked me. I said, I don't want to be on the red eye because I'll have to go straight to the set. So the test is done at 4:00, get me on that 6:00. Well, they booked me on like the red eye. And I go, do you realize that that's the last flight of the day? I'm going to shoot on your network. And if something happens with that flight, you've got a $350,000 insurance day, because I was in every scene. I think I had one line in each scene, but I was there.
Wow.
So I'm standing there in the woods with everybody for this 14-hour day, so tired. And Josh got me laughing. And he and I were acting out the scene somehow for my audition. And then I worked with them again the next day, and I was so stressed waiting to hear if I got it that they took me to lunch. It was so nice of them. And then I didn't get it. And I said, they said they're going for a name. And I'd heard this before, and then when the name came out, I was like, who? So I said, it better be a name. I better hear Nicole Kidman when they don't, because I think like in our world at the moment today, it'll, change in 5 minutes. I think I am a name. So my manager called them back, and I flew home, and I actually flew on a vacation with my family, and you don't want me, fine. And then I was like, God, I'm so glad I'm getting to be with my family. And then they called and said, oh no, actually we do want her, because my manager called them and said, actually she is a name. And apparently they went, oh, is she? I mean, it was just the most bizarre. And then I did a red eye into filming in Atlanta, but they picked me up at the airport, and we're driving for 2 hours, and I'm like, this is not shooting in Atlanta. So I end up in Rome, Georgia. I have no idea where I am or what I'm doing, and
Oh my God.
having a good time on that show, and then it didn't go. But anyway, that day of deliriousness with Josh Dallas was amazing. I laughed so hard I cried the whole day.
It's good. Yeah, it's nice that when you in any cast to have people who are going to support you like that.
It
It
was.
really is. And Everybody in every show, every fan romanticizes that the sets of all these things are big hug boxes, and sometimes not the case. But when you do have a cast that really everybody is cool and everybody's equals, everybody's supportive, that's where you get some real magic going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard to be with people 14 hours a day, 5 days a week. You know, it's very hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, and a reminder to our audience, if you'd like to chat with our guests like I am now or purchase an autograph, please sign up at galaxycon.com. I think we have time for one more question, so I'll ask our producer to pull out a really good one to close us out with. And this comes from Sherry. Well, so if you could make a deal with Rumpelstiltskin, what would it be?
Right now, to cure the world of the virus.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Make people vote.
Make people vote and make people be human to everyone, no matter what.
Amen.
Yeah.
I feel like Rumpel could do a lot of good in the world right now. We need to find him. I'll trade some magic beans for all that.
Totally.
Hell yeah, a little bit of fire under the entire world's ass would not hurt. Would not hurt right now. So.
Yeah.
Magic beans, that's worth a magic coconut or two.
Lots of
Totally.
magic beans right now.
Yeah, I would trade all the
Distribute
magic to have Rumpel cure COVID, make everybody be nice to each other, make the world fair and just.
Yeah. Just equality in every sense, you know. Get on it, Rumpel.
Yeah.
Sherry, thank you. That was a great question to lead us off with. And GalaxyCon viewers, this has been my time with the cast of Once Upon a Time, but it does not have to be yours. If you'd like to chat with our guests or purchase an autograph, please head over to galaxycon.com. While you're there, be sure to check out our schedule of upcoming events like this one. Ladies, any final words for our audience before we go?
It was just so nice to see you guys.
It was so nice.
You too.
I really missed seeing you. And I you know, it just
Right.
feels like it's been so long. So this was like a nice little hangout.
Yes, it was
That's
lovely
great.
to see you. And thank you, Patty. And thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
Patty. This was great. And thank you to everyone for their awesome questions.
Yes. And thank you,
Absolutely.
GalaxyCon, for having us.
Yeah, we will.
It has been our pleasure. It has been my absolute pleasure to serve you today and our audience. Again, audience, thank you for joining us. Thank you for all those great questions. Hope to see you again tomorrow, Sunday, August 16th, with the cast of My Hero Academia. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care, and please keep washing those hands.
Wear a mask, please.